"Your girlfriend's a cheater, Blaine," my boyfriend, Blaine's mother, said to him, tossing sneaky photos of me and Mark onto the table. I'd come to Blaine's place, so happy to tell him about my pregnancy, his baby. But she'd set up a nasty trick, planting doubts in his shocked head. My name is Zoe, and I'm numb witnessing this hatred of Catherine. She'd followed me for weeks, collecting her evidence. I never thought she'd go so low to wreck what I had with Blaine. She made up a cruel lie, faking an affair with my colleague Mark. It hit me out of nowhere, her trickery too wild to believe. How could a mom plot to crush her son's happiness? I knew I hadn't betrayed Blaine, but I stood there, lost for words to fight back. Blaine doubtfully turned to me. "Is this true?" he asked, his voice shaky. "No, I would never—" "Then explain these messages, these pictures." Catherine had more proof. She had been following me for weeks. I knew I had one chance, one moment to save everything. I took a breath and said, "I'm pregnant." "What?" Blaine was stunned. I pulled out the ultrasound. "It's yours, Blaine. We're having a baby," I said, tears streaming down my face. Catherine's face changed. For the first time, she looked uncertain. She scoffed. "Do you expect us to believe that?" Blaine was torn. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked. I was planning this moment. I wanted it to be special. But something had changed. The moment I revealed my pregnancy, I saw it in Blaine's eyes. "But these pictures, I know that Mark has always liked you." My heart stopped. Blaine believed his mother. "Mark is just a colleague. The baby is yours." Blaine turned away. "I can't believe this. I don't ever want to see you again." And that was it. Blaine refused to talk to me, and I was left on my own. I had to search for my own answers now.
A few days later, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Why had Blaine believed his mother so quickly? Catherine had always been manipulative, but this felt different. I needed answers. I drove to Mark's office, but I wasn't prepared for what I'd find. Mark had always been there when things were falling apart between Blaine and me. "He doesn't deserve you, Zoe," he'd always say. I knocked on Mark's door, and he greeted me with his usual charming smile. "Zoe," Mark said, his eyes flickering. What brings you here?" "I need to know something, Mark. Did you know about the pictures Catherine showed Blaine? Pictures of you and me?" Mark looked nervous for a moment. "Pictures of you and me? You mean she tried to frame us? I never thought she'd go this far." "Did you help her? Did you know she was planning to break us up? Tell me the truth, Mark." Mark sighed. "Zoe, I never wanted it to get this far. But Catherine had her reasons. I thought I was helping." I blinked. "Helping? With what?" Mark looked down. "I never wanted to hurt you, Zoe. I just wanted you to see me the way I've always seen you, as someone who loves you." "Mark, what are you talking about?" Mark looked back up at me. "I wanted to be the one you could rely on, but I saw you with Blaine, and I couldn't hold back my feelings. You've ruined everything, Mark. I thought we were friends." Mark's confession left me stumped. I trusted him, and here he was siding with Catherine. I didn't know where to look. My own family wasn't good to me either. When I told them about my situation, all I got was judgment. "Zoe, maybe it's better to just let go," my mother said. "So, you're pregnant." My father didn't question me. It was an accusation. "Yes," I said. I wasn't ashamed. I knew I wasn't guilty. "Someone like Blaine would never father your child," my mother added. My parents never approved of my relationship with Blaine. His family was rich and powerful. They thought this was the most natural end to our relationship. But this was only the beginning. I knew I had to fight this alone. My first appointment was a nightmare. The doctor noticed I was stressed. "Is everything okay? Your blood pressure is off the roof," she added. I couldn't even answer. How could I explain that the father of my child believed I was a cheater? "I'm afraid there are some complications," the doctor said. "What kind of complications?" "I need to speak to someone from your family." "Please tell me, doctor, what is it?" "We'll need to do some tests to be sure, but these tests are expensive," the doctor said worriedly. "My child will survive no matter what." I told her. I wanted to scream, but I decided to fight back. Although I didn't want to, I had to go see Blaine and ask for his help. I knew I'd never be able to afford the tests on my own. I had to tell him about our child. Blaine was training to become a surgeon. I knew he'd be willing to help his own child. So I took the reports in hand and went to his workplace. Can we talk? I blocked Blaine's path in the hospital corridor. Take her away, Blaine ordered coldly. His words cut deeper than any knife. He wouldn't listen. He wouldn't even look at me. Ma'am, you need to leave. The security guard said firmly. Blaine, please, it's very important. I cried. There was a hint of concern in Blaine's eyes. Meet me at the terrace, Blaine said firmly. Thank you. Thank you, Blaine. When Blaine walked up to the terrace 5 minutes later, he looked annoyed. What do you want to talk about, Zoe? I know you don't want to see me, but I really hope that you can help me with something. Blaine, I finally mustered up some courage. I need to borrow some money from you. You want to borrow money? For what? For our child. He's our child. As far as I know, that's not my child. Blaine put one hand in his pocket and walked closer to me. He wasn't the same Blaine I used to know. He was cold and uncaring. If there's a problem, you come looking for your rich ex-boyfriend? Do you really think I believe you? He asked in anger. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have come here. Remember, Zoe, the day you cheated on me, you lost me forever. Don't expect any kindness from me, he said, his eyes dark as ever. I felt hopeless. If Blaine, the father of my child, refused to help me, then who would? I put my head down and walked away. Blaine didn't even try to stop me. Since that day, I swore I'd never reach out to Blaine again, no matter what. But life had other surprises waiting for me. 8 months later, I was blessed with a beautiful boy. I named him Max. My journey as a single mother was brutal from the start. I faced countless challenges raising Max alone. Every day was a battle. I learned that being a single mother means being stronger than you ever thought possible. Max had Blaine's deep blue eyes, a constant reminder of what we had shared and lost. After Blaine and my family abandoned me, I made it my mission to give Max the best life possible. He was my joy, my anchor, my reason to keep going. Mommy, why don't I have a daddy like other kids? Max asked one night as I tucked him into bed. The question shattered me, but I forced a smile. Because you have a mommy who loves you more than anything in the world, I said, kissing his forehead. Max nodded and snuggled closer. I held him tightly, whispering, I'll never let you down, Max. I promise. But then came another shocker. Max was very ill and needed an urgent bone marrow transplant. Once again, I needed help. Finally, he cut through my rambling. I'm hungry. Let's eat first. Little did I know, dinner with my ex would be the least complicated part of my evening. I watched Blaine order food for me, while he had no idea that his little boy, Max, was fighting for his life in the hospital. I had to snap myself out of my past. I'm sorry about earlier. I'm not usually that talkative, I said. Blaine didn't even look up. I still want to know what you wanted to say the other day. Oh, it was nothing. Mommy, will I ever get better? Max asked innocently. Yes, of course you will. Mommy won't give up. I held his hand as tight as possible. I knew that Blaine had become a successful surgeon and worked in one of the top hospitals in Phoenix. It had been 4 years since I'd seen Blaine. I had to do something I never wanted to do. I had to reach out to Blaine. I felt the same fear I felt 4 years ago. Will Blaine help me save our son? The next day, I mustered up the courage to call Blaine. Hello? Blaine's voice was as cold as ever. Blaine, it's me, Zoe. Can we meet? I know it's you. It's been 4 years. What do you want now? I had expected these questions, but I had to ignore them. It's really urgent. I wouldn't call you if it wasn't. I clarified. Fine. Come over. You know where I live. And then, he hung up. When I arrived, the tension was suffocating. Blaine wasn't alone. He was with his beautiful fiancée, Sophia, and his threatening mother, Catherine. Sophia stood rigidly beside Catherine, the woman who had once tried to kill me, their eyes burning with a mixture of curiosity and hostility. You have some nerve showing up here, Catherine spat. I touched my beating chest and felt the heart of the sea necklace, a remnant of what Blaine and I once were. Sophia's gaze locked onto it, her eyes narrowing. Isn't that the heart of the sea? Where did you get that? She demanded, her voice sharp with accusation. Catherine didn't miss a beat. She stole it. That necklace belongs to our family. Blaine's reaction was immediate. "Mom, stop," he said, his voice rising. He knew the truth, that the necklace was a token of our love from 6 years ago. But knowing and defending were two different things. He acknowledged the truth, but did nothing to truly protect me. "I'm sorry, maybe this was a bad idea. I'll leave." "Zoe, wait," Blaine called out, but it was too late. The humiliation was too strong. Elle walked away with my head held down, but I wanted to have the last word, so I said, "Don't take my silence as weakness." When I reached work the next day, my boss dropped a file on my desk, his excitement barely contained. Blaine Dexter, his house design, non-negotiable. The universe had a cruel sense of humor. I had no choice. I had to turn up for a meeting with Blaine the next day. Our meeting was awkward and cold. "Miss Zoe, what have you prepared for me?" Blaine asked professionally. What followed was the most embarrassing moment of my life. I babbled about design styles and color schemes in one single breath. The whole time, Blaine just sat there, those dark eyes studying me. "I don't think it was nothing, Zoe. It seemed important." He sounded genuinely concerned. I didn't know how to begin. And then, the hospital called. They needed him for an emergency surgery. "You're working at St. Mary's Hospital now?" I asked after seeing the phone number. "Yes, I was recently transferred," he said hurriedly. Another twist of fate. Not only was Max bound to a hospital, he was at St. Mary's Hospital. My heart rose at the possibility of them meeting. "Come to my place tonight, we'll talk," he said. Underneath the professionalism, something electric and dangerous pulsed between us. As I watched him leave, his broad shoulders disappearing through the door, that familiar ache returned. Later that night, I turned up at his place. This time, Blaine was alone. He could tell from my body language that I was uncomfortable. Blaine looked at me and said coldly, "What? You don't want to be alone with me, Zoe? Are you afraid I'll be inappropriate?" Then he smiled and continued, "Don't worry, I'm not the same as before. My taste in women has improved. I like honest, classy women now." I was offended, but I didn't let my face show it. Blaine's insult was indirect, but loud and clear. "Good to know. I was thinking too much of you," I smiled back at him. Blaine's cold smile instantly disappeared. "So you betrayed me back then because you were young and foolish?" I inhaled slightly. "You're right, I was young and foolish, so I trusted you to act older and wiser." Memories of our attraction flooded my mind. There had been a time when we couldn't get enough of each other, and now it seemed Blaine couldn't stand to be in the same room as me. "You never really fought for me," I accused. "Some things are complicated," he responded. I left, anger and hurt pushing me away. Days later, my boss asked me for an update on Blaine's house design. Reluctantly, I sent the text to Blaine, hoping for a simple exchange of house keys. His response was terse. 2:00 this afternoon, followed by a new address. When I arrived, relief washed over me seeing no sign of Blaine's car. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. His fiancée Sophia opened the door, her smile both welcoming and calculating. "Blaine asked me to meet you," she said, her voice honey-sweet. "He's busy at the hospital." The mansion was breathtaking, all clean lines and modern architecture. As I began taking measurements, Sophia's chattiness felt like a performance. "So, how long has it been since you last saw Blaine?" she asked, the question hanging in the air like a trap. I looked up, surprised. "Excuse me? I've seen your picture on his computer," she explained, her smile innocent yet knowing. "A group photo." The conversation twisted like a knife. Sophia's next words were calculated. "Don't worry, I wouldn't be jealous, even if it was just the two of you. I know it's impossible between you two." She winked, adding meaningfully, "Because Blaine has a very scary mother." My smile froze. At that moment, I saw through Sophia's words. She wasn't harmless. She was calculating. Then came the question about my necklace. "Tell me, where did you really get that necklace?" Sophia asked, her tone deceptively casual. "A friend gave it to me," I replied, my hand unconsciously touching the necklace. Sophia's eyes glimmered. "Not just a friend, right? This must be from someone special." When she explained the necklace's true identity, the heart of the sea, a priceless diamond symbolizing one's true love, my world tilted. Blaine had always told me it wasn't worth much. 6 years, and I'd never known its true value. The only one in the world, priceless, one true love. The words echoed in my mind. Stupid, I told myself. How could I not have known? Did your husband give it to you? Sophia asked. No, I responded simply. Just a friend. But we both knew it was more complicated than that. Sophia watched me, her red lips curved in a knowing smile. The measurement of the house continued, feeling her eyes on me, understanding that this was more than just a design consultation. This was a confrontation, with stakes I was only beginning to understand. The heart of the sea glimmered around my neck, a testament to a love story far from over. The next moment, I saw the hospital's number light up on my phone. It was about Max. I needed to go immediately. I have to go. Can we do this another time? We'll see about that, she said slyly. I had no time to think about the hidden meaning behind Sophia's words. Max was delirious when I reached the hospital, calling for a father he'd never known. My friend, Dr. Luna's suggestion was simple and terrifying. Contact Blaine right away. When I called, Sophia answered. Her threat was calculated and cruel. Stay away from Blaine. Decline the design project. Or I'll have Max transferred. Before I could process her words, chaos erupted suddenly. A man from the psychiatric ward had escaped. He was threatening to hurt Blaine in the hospital corridor. He was holding a bottle of sulfuric acid in his hand. Without thinking, I stepped forward. Pain exploded through my body. Sharp, sudden, unexpected. I was taken away to the emergency room. Blaine, who was always calm in the face of danger, was panicking for the first time in his life. What were you doing here, Zoe? Blaine asked. She's very lucky, the doctor told Blaine. It was a false alarm. The liquid was just some chili pepper concoction. The damage would have been worse if that had really been sulfuric acid. Blaine lowered his head and inched closer to my tear-stained face, asking me in a strange tone. Zoe, how does it feel to be a hero? Dr. Dexter, if you want to thank me now, I will gladly accept it. Blaine treated my wounds, his touch both familiar and strange. And then the question, loaded and dangerous. Do you still love me, Zoe? Is that why you're here? Is that why you protected me? I said nothing. Some questions are better left unanswered. Never mind, it doesn't matter anymore, he said defensively. Then he picked up my things and walked me to his car. Fasten your seatbelt, Blaine said, glancing at me. I felt tears forming behind my eyes. Thank you, I said in a low voice as I got into his car. When we were together, Blaine had always opened the car door for me and then leaned over and fastened my seatbelt. I stared blankly at the scenery outside my window, trying to ignore the loss I felt in my heart. What time do you get off work? Blaine suddenly asked me. I turned and glanced at him. 5 o'clock. No, from your job at Enclave. Blaine's voice sounded indifferent. How did he know I was working at the Enclave as a bartender? I hesitated for a moment before replying honestly. 3 in the morning. Blaine frowned. Do you really need money that badly? To be honest, I couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable at Blaine's question. I nodded and answered him truthfully. Yes. Matthew doesn't have money to help you? You need to work so hard? There was a trace of anger in Blaine's tone. Blaine still believed that Matthew was my husband, when he was just a very dear friend taking care of Max and me. No. I quickly shook my head. I've already spent too much of his money. I can't ask him for more. Blaine frowned and looked at me. What do you need so much money for? I felt a little guilty and hesitated for a long moment. Blaine, there's someone. He cut me off. Forget it. I'm not interested in knowing about you anyway. I felt a little sad and a little relieved he'd dropped the subject. We drove in silence for a while, neither saying anything, before Blaine said, Zoe. My heart clenched tightly when I heard him say my name. If you really lack money, you should go to Matthew for it. You are his wife. He should share this burden with you. You don't have to force yourself to live like this. Blaine stared straight ahead at the road while he spoke, and his tone had grown serious. Finally, he continued. If you're really short of money and Matthew doesn't want to give it to you, I can lend it to you. And it too. The moment Blaine's words left his mouth, my tears could no longer be controlled, and I began to cry. At a red light, the car stopped. Zoe, don't cry anymore. I don't like it. I quickly took some tissue and dried my tears. I was slightly shocked when she saw my reflection in the mirror. My wounded eyes were swollen and bloodshot. I sighed before reminding Blaine. The light changed. You can drive now. You're sure you don't want me to drop you in front of your house? Blaine asked me with a frown. There's no need. I'm good. I hurriedly shook my head. I didn't want my younger sister Ziva to see Blaine dropping me off. Although I guessed by the frown on Blaine's face, he didn't think I was trying to avoid Ziva seeing us together. He thought that I was trying to hide it from Matthew. Blaine didn't say anything more and let me off at the curb. Don't forget to apply the ointment as well. If you feel any discomfort, come to the hospital and find me. All right. His concern made me feel slightly warm. Thank you again for the ride. I turned away and had taken a couple of steps when I suddenly turned around to look at Blaine inside his car. I paused for a moment before I said, I forgot to tell you just now. Congratulations. Blaine's chest tightened, and his expression instantly turned cold. You came back just to say these irrelevant words to me? He asked angrily. I ignored Blaine's coldness. I took a deep breath and continued. You better cherish your fate with Sophia. Meeting the one you will spend the rest of your life with is a blessing. To be able to know anyone completely, their good and bad parts, and to still fall in love with each other, to find someone that fits with you and is on the same family level as you, is a gift. Really, this isn't simple to do at all. My voice cracked, and I briefly paused to get a hold of my emotions. When I was attacked by Catherine Dexter, I thought, why couldn't I have a good family background that was comparable to Blaine's? Why did he give up on me so easily? Why did he believe his mother? Over the past 4 years, I had trained myself not to let my mind wish for things that would never come true. It was an impossible dream. Therefore, I wish you all the best. I finished. Blaine watched me leave in a daze. I had thought that Blaine wouldn't be able to read my sign language, but Blaine knew what I had signed to him. Please be happier than I am. Suddenly, Blaine shouted towards the back of the figure that was getting further away from him. Goodbye. I turned around and ran home, my figure quickly vanishing into the darkness. The rain seemed to get heavier, and no matter how much I wiped, it was useless. I couldn't even tell if the water was rain or tears. How desperately I had wanted to tell him, Blaine, do you know that I have never stopped loving you? The next afternoon, I asked Blaine to meet me on a bench in the park adjacent to the hospital. An hour after their agreed-upon meeting time, Blaine still hadn't shown up. When Blaine finally appeared, he apologized. Sorry, I forgot I had my yearly physical examination. Blaine put his hands in his pockets and sat down beside me. Physical examination? My heart skipped a beat. Did your exam include a blood test? I asked him reflexively. He was, after all, Max's father. Of course. All the tests. How is your wound? As Blaine asked this, he gently turned my face towards him. He looked at me seriously. The swelling is almost gone. That's good. I took his hand off my face. What did you need to talk about? Blaine asked me. I heard you are planning to press charges against the men who attacked me in the hospital. Blaine's eyes narrowed in sudden suspicion. Who told you that? Withdraw the charges, I replied. No. Blaine could be even more stubborn than me. Why not? I asked anxiously. Zoe, are you crazy? You are the victim of an assault. Blaine was growing angry. He once again took my face in his big hand. Am I just supposed to ignore this injury? Blaine asked, as he looked into my eyes. Ignore the fact that a man attacked you for defending me? I lowered my head, gazing at my lap. Zoe, tomorrow is Saturday. Spend the day with me, Blaine suddenly said. I was stunned. I turned my head and stared at him in shock. Blaine also turned his head to look at me, his expression serious. Spend the day with me, and I promise to not press charges. So now Blaine was blackmailing me? Zoe, after tomorrow passes, we will once again be strangers, he told me quietly. So tomorrow would be the last 24 hours we ever spent together. My heart tightened painfully in her chest at the thought. I looked at him in confusion. Are you afraid to be alone with me? He asked. I'm not afraid, I said quickly. At that moment, I felt very strange. My reaction to his words made me uncomfortable. Tomorrow then, Blaine said as he stood up. Looking down at me, he said, It's your decision, Zoe, whether you want to come to my house or not. After Blaine finished speaking, he walked away, leaving me sitting on the bench in a daze. My head was spinning. I didn't understand his motives. Since we had already agreed to be strangers, why did Blaine still stubbornly want me to spend the day with him? What I didn't realize was that even Blaine himself couldn't answer that question. I had to make a decision. An entire day with Blaine Dexter. Could this be my opportunity to tell Blaine about Max? The next morning, I went to Blaine's house. Good morning, Zoe. I saw Blaine standing at the door with sleepy eyes. We had decided to spend a day with each other, and then never see each other again. Since you're here bright and early, you should make me breakfast, he said. Okay, I agreed immediately. During breakfast, Blaine and I sat down on opposite sides of the table. I hesitated for a moment before saying, "In the future, I will contact Sophia directly about the renovation of your new house." Okay. Blaine didn't hesitate at all. Do you have any places you want to go in the next 24 hours? Blaine suddenly looked up and asked me. My eyes widened. Before I could answer him, I heard my phone ring from inside my bag. Hold on, I told Blaine as I ran into the hall to answer my phone. It was Matthew. I quickly answered it. Matthew? What's going on? Zoe, you need to get back to the hospital right away, Matthew said. I had never heard Matthew sound this scared before. I froze at the tone of his voice. It's Max. He fainted and lost consciousness, and then his heart stopped. The doctors managed to resuscitate him and are working on him now, but Max is in extremely critical condition. Matthew's voice faltered. Max may not have much time left. Matthew's last words were like a bomb going off inside my head. My mind momentarily went blank. Suddenly, I grabbed my bag off the table and sprinted for the exit. Where are you going? Blaine asked me angrily. I have something urgent to do. I have to go now. My voice was trembling violently. My only thoughts were of my son. Zoe, what about the 24 hours you promised me? My voice suddenly rose. Blaine, stop messing around and let me go. Blaine's eyes went ice cold. Dropping his voice, he hissed, Is he really that important to you? Blaine was asking about Matthew, but when I heard him, my only thoughts were of my son. He is the most important person in my life. So, Blaine, please let me go. Seeing my pale, desperate face, Blaine suddenly released me. I immediately rushed into the elevator. And then, I was gone. Blaine walked back into the kitchen unconsciously. He was filled with jealousy and anger. I had once again chosen another man over Blaine. When I rushed into the hospital, Max was still in the process of being rescued. Looking at the somewhat glaring red warning light outside the emergency room, I completely fell apart. Matthew's heart ached as he ran up to me and pulled me into his arms. Zoe, don't be like this. But I couldn't control my emotions any longer. I laid my head on Matthew's shoulder and cried. A nurse approached us carefully. I'm so sorry, Miss Fuller, but I need a parent to sign this notice. I didn't react. Miss Fuller, please sign this. The nurse reminded me again gently. Zoe. Matthew patted my back. The nurse hesitated but then told me, This is a notice of the critical condition. The nurse's words made my emotions completely collapse, and I shouted, Matthew, tell her that we don't want to sign this thing. Why should we sign this? Max is going to be fine. Zoe, listen to me. The notice is a formality. Do you understand? This doesn't mean this is over, Matthew. I beg you, I'm begging you to save him. Matthew looked at me, who was breaking down. For a moment, he was speechless. Blaine! I suddenly came out of Matthew's arms and bolted down the hall. Blaine can save Max. He is his father. He will definitely be a match. I'll go and beg him. Matthew came back to his senses and quickly caught up with me and pulled me back. Zoe, no, don't do this. Let go of me. I have to find Blaine so he can save Max. He is his father. His bone marrow will definitely be a match. Blaine can't save Max, Matthew finally said. You lied to me. You said parents were the best matches. Blaine can save him, I shouted. Blaine wasn't a match, Matthew shouted back. What did you say? My voice was trembling so much that it hurt. I'm sorry, Zoe. I pulled Blaine's blood test results from his physical exam. He wasn't a match. I was completely defeated. Don't give up, Zoe, Matthew pleaded with me. What else can I do? My voice trailed off. I was destroyed at this moment. My son was only 4 years old. I anxiously waited outside the emergency room for the entire morning. At noon, Matthew led a group of doctors and nurses out. I rushed over. Matthew, my Max. I wanted to know the result, but I was afraid to know. Matthew tightly gripped my trembling hands. Zoe, Max is a strong child. He survived. Oh, thank God, thank you. Thank you. Max was immediately taken to the ICU. I could only see Max through the ICU door's small window. I couldn't take my eyes off my son. Zoe, you have been standing there all day. Go home and get some sleep, Matthew urged me. I am not going anywhere, Matthew. I will stay here and look after Max. Matthew sighed helplessly. Come, let me talk to you about Max's situation. When I heard that Matthew wanted to talk about Max's condition, I sat down beside him. Zoe, Max might need to undergo chemotherapy. Matthew's words made my eyes tighten. Matthew, is there really no other way? Matthew took a deep breath and looked at me. We barely saved Max this time. To be honest, it's a miracle Max survived. I know, I didn't want to even hear the words. I'm afraid Max will not be able to endure it again, Matthew. As a mother, I couldn't bear for him to go into the chemotherapy room again and again. Matthew held my trembling hands. Zoe, think about it carefully. As for the money for chemotherapy and this month's hospitalization fees, don't worry about it anymore. Just leave it to me. No, I immediately refused. Matthew, don't do this. Max and I owe you too much already. Don't worry about Max's medical fees. I will definitely find a way to get the money, so don't worry about me anymore. Matthew sighed. Listen to me. Don't make things more difficult for yourself than they already are. It's okay. I can handle it. I shook my head stubbornly. Max's chemotherapy sessions would begin in 2 weeks. My salaries from my full-time designer position and my other part-time job would not be enough. I gritted my teeth and found a third job that I could do overnight. I got a job as a cocktail waitress at Enclave. The bar was a short walk from St. Mary's, so I could still be close to Max. I would earn a small server's salary plus commission. It was almost 4 o'clock in the morning when I arrived home from my first shift at Enclave. As soon as I walked into the bathroom, I threw up. Zoe, what's wrong? I'd woken up my sister Ziva. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Go back to bed. Zoe, how can you say you're fine? Have you been drinking? That's not like you. You don't even like bars. I took the water and rinsed my mouth. What kind of job did you get that requires you to arrive home at 4 o'clock in the morning? Ziva continued. If you need money, we can go and borrow some from relatives. Don't risk your life to save Max's. I shook my head. Don't worry about me, Ziva. I'm fine. Don't tell Mom about this. She is not in good health. Zoe, I'm going to start contacting our extended family tomorrow. You can't live like this. Ziva, don't. I opened my tired, bloodshot eyes. This is my problem to solve. Aren't you tired, Zoe? Ziva's eyes were watery. I am tired, I told my sister truthfully. But I wasn't giving up. A toast to us, Dr. Jose shouted, raising the beer in his hand. The next night, the entire staff of the neurology department of the St. Mary's Hospital had gathered at Enclave to celebrate. Earlier that day, the neurology department and its team of brain surgeons had been rated as the best department in the entire hospital. I had just finished serving a table with their drinks when the manager of Enclave hurried over to me looking a bit flustered. Hey, Zoe, I'm short a VIP hostess. You've been doing great, so I'd like to give you a shot at the job. How about a trial run tonight? My manager asked. I quickly agreed, because I had heard I'd earn higher commissions in VIP rooms. A short time later, I wheeled a liquor cart into my assigned VIP room. The moment I entered the room, my eyes landed on him, and I froze. What was Blaine doing here? In the next moment, Blaine looked up and his steely gray eyes locked with my startled blue ones. Blaine's colleagues were stunned when they saw me walk in pushing the bottle service cart. Zoe, is that you? Someone asked in surprise. I felt embarrassed. Blaine's cold stare made a shiver go down my back. How could I explain why I was working 3 jobs? Will I ever be able to tell him?
Hey, I'm Zoe. If you're wondering what happens next, download the Pocket FM app now and listen to the exciting episode of Rekindled Heartache.